Consider this my Christmas gift to you guys. Thursday was my last day of school, so I'm free and I have way too much free time. And I have nothing better else to do, so why not, right? Let's give you guys some entertaining content. That's what I'm here for. Back to the old 2012 days of YouTube, right? All that high school nostalgia.
Hey guys, a lot of people would make a dramatic video right now. They would make something really extreme and be emotional or whatever. I've experienced this kind of thing enough to kind of react like an adult.
Can we please stop with react like an adult? If someone is an adult and they're mature and they're somebody who takes responsibility for things, they don't have to constantly remind their audience that, hey, I'm acting like an adult here. People who constantly have to blast the fact that they're the most honest people, that they're the most adult-like people, typically aren't those things. Somebody who is mature, somebody who's an adult, doesn't have to proclaim, because your audience will witness how you behave and how you react, and they'll say, hey, this person's mature. That person is a 33-year-old adult and acts like it.
So, I'm gonna do that. It's not a character, this is all me. As me as I know I can be. But I wanted to talk to you guys about something pretty serious. My Uh-Oh Bro channel. Last time I checked, it had over 2 million subscribers, had over 500 million views before I removed half the videos for being demonetized. It was a very successful channel. It made me a good amount of wealth, which, you know, I don't really have anymore. In fact, I think I'm going to be at square zero soon, which is sad, but I got a bill and it's like, I don't even want to say the number. It's gigantic. It's jaw-dropping.
Over $500,000. Yes, $500,000 at this current moment. Greggy Poo has been audited and owes the IRS. No, I'm not joking. That is how much. It's actually more than that. Because this is a man who is an adult, who thinks that he doesn't have to take responsibility for anything that he does or says, and thinks that he can try to do an easy tax evasion or tax fraud by claiming every single thing into his entire house as a deduction. This is somebody who, the reason why he was audited by the IRS, who used his marriage as a deduction, who used his entire house as a deduction, who used a divorce as a deduction. If you are a self-contractor, somebody who works for yourself, you're only allowed to take a business expense of, well, for example, this room that I'm in here right now. This room has my camera, my video, my internet, my router, my TV, my games. Stuff that makes me money, my business. Those are deductions that I can take from my income that I make and use those to bring and lower my taxes. The problem is that this genius has this great idea that everything in his life is deductible. And you're wondering, well, how could it be $500,000? Because again, divorce, a marriage, your entire house. This room, the square footage of this room is the only thing I'm able to deduct is the stuff that I use for my business. You can't deduct your wife's wedding ring that you paid $6,000 for. That's not...
So for a while on Patreon, I was like, okay, guys, I think I'll be fine. Everything's gonna be okay. But then I got this bill, and we have to go through an appeals process and so forth. But it takes everything I have, literally. I sold my house, I sold my cars, and it's still going to take everything that I have if this bill goes through.
Stop being so melodramatic. They're taking everything. Everything I own. I sold my house. I have no place to live. The reality is, he doesn't tell you that the house that he sold was a literal mansion, way too big, I mean massive. I think it was like 5-6 bedroom house. House is estimated at like $700,000. He had that house, he sold that house, and then bought another house only just like less than half a year ago. And that house was like $350,000. Point being, he is not as broke as he tries to claim and make himself look like. You're dealing with like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. You made a profit selling your original house. And when you owe the IRS money, you can set up payment plans. They're there for a reason.
So, to my patrons, thank you so much, guys. You guys are incredible. I mean, I could just get a job as a cop or something. I could, but I wouldn't be able to pay my bills.
Absolutely not. You do not have what it takes to be a law enforcement officer. First of all, you're too old. Secondly, you would abuse your power. Third, a starting wage as a cop is roughly $40,000 to $50,000. And as of this very moment on Patreon, you're making $2,800 some a month. But they're taking everything. I have no income. They're taking everything from me. But let me just try to make people feel sorry for my income over a mistake that I made. Greggy Poo, here's the thing. If this site, this platform of YouTube, is not financially sustainable for you, you have to find alternate means to bring in an income. That's what I'm doing. That's what I have done. That's why I quit doing this full-time, because it's not sustainable after Adpocalypse of 2017. No matter how much work I put into it, it just didn't pay off. Now I do this for fun, and it's quite enjoyable. And if I make money off of it, cool. If I don't, whatever, it's not a big deal. But you can't do that. You can't look at yourself and say, I could get a job at Walmart in a, orange vest at the door saying, "Hi, welcome to Walmart." I mean, you could do something like that. Your wife could do something like that, but you don't want to do something like that because you're of this belief that you want to be self-sufficient on relying on other people. And there's nothing wrong with that inherently. But if it's something that's still making you struggle, you have to do what's necessary. You have to do what's known as an adult thing and find alternate means of income, which means going back to school, maybe getting a degree, or maybe pursuing some sort of trade. All you've been doing since 2017 is whining and complaining about money, 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 money. And guess what? I did that too for a short duration. And then I realized to myself, why am I making videos complaining about one thing when I could actually go out and not rely upon people for money and get a career and education in something that could benefit society? Like, if something doesn't work, you change, you fix it, you find alternate means. I mean, man, dude, I wish I was making $2,900 on Patreon. I mean, that's still, like, almost, what, $30,000 a year? I'm trying to pay for my school tuition.
I don't think I'd be able to pay my bills even then. So I'm so far up streak. Because, like, if you guys know, when you're self-employed, there's a 20% tax on top of the tax that you're already getting taxed. So if you have, 30% tax, you're losing half your income, okay? In addition to that, there's also fees or penalties for using TurboTax wrong or whatever.
Fees and penalties for using TurboTax wrong. Now, this is the key thing I want you guys to listen here, what he just said right there. He is blaming the software of TurboTax for the reason he owes over $500,000 to the IRS. Rather than take responsibility and say, hey, I screwed up, I didn't know what I was doing, I'm going to blame the software. I'm going to blame software on a computer where you put in numbers. TurboTax is a software, it's a website. All TurboTax does is you put in the numbers, it takes out the deductions. But if you put in wrong numbers, if you deduct everything in your entire house, marriages and divorces and all that stuff, it's going to deduct it, but yeah, it's going to come out wrong. That's not TurboTax's fault. I remember on Twitter when this happened, he was wanting to sue TurboTax for saying that he wasn't going to be audited. Because, it has a little green check mark when it says that you have a high chance of being audited versus not a chance of being audited. It's automatic, it's software, it's all based on information that you put in, and here he has the guts to blame the software. Greg, that's not what an adult does. Adults take responsibility for mistakes and things that they do wrong. If you really had no idea what you were doing, you should have hired a tax accountant back in 2012, and you wouldn't be in the state that you are now. When I got my first full wage on YouTube in 2013, I made $38,000. And with that $38,000 for the whole year, I didn't know how to do my taxes properly. So what did I do? I hired a tax accountant. I said, this is the stuff that I use in my videos. This is how much I spent on making production and my internet and all that stuff and my camera gear that I used to make money, so on and so forth. She sat down, figured it out. I paid the government a set money, and I've never been audited. I've come to the belief that I think that Greg actually thinks that asking for help is like a sign of weakness or something, that as a man, you can't ask for help, or you can't be unsure if you don't know something to seek out information that could help you make better decisions. It doesn't cross his mind because he thinks that he knows everything in regards to how things are done in life. The reality is, if you're 23, 27, 33, and you really think you know all there is about life, you're doomed to make the more repetitive same mistakes over and over and over again and screw yourself up in a bigger hole than you already are.
It's very complicated, but yet, nobody teaches you this kind of thing. And, everything I did was 100% honest, like as honest as I could be. The point I just wanted to make by saying all this is, I'm used to stress. I'm used to things being crazy. Right around Adpocalypse is when I got hit with my initial huge bill. So it's like, not only are you getting paid less, but we're also going to take all your money. And it's just like, I lost my house, I lost my cars and everything. It was just like, it was rough, you know? And I'm not trying to, you know, make you guys feel sorry for me. I'm just trying to tell you my situation.
At this point, let's go through the list that you showed in your last video. So far, you've done a bunch of these.
And tried to guilt trip people. Guys, this is so hard for me. Tried to flatter his audience again. Definitely played the innocent card the whole time. He had the over-the-top aggression randomly.
But this video is probably called like Shane something or whatever. Because recently I made a documentary where I concluded that Shane Dawson is not for a fact a pedo. I very clearly stated that. Like I said, you know, there's no conclusive evidence that he is actually a pedo. There's a lot of evidence that's weird, but it doesn't conclude that he's a pedo. And so in that, you know, one of his biggest critics kind of took a step back and said, you know, while I don't necessarily like this person, while I'm not necessarily, you know, I have a really bad history with the guy, I'm not going to be conclusive, you know, outside meaningless Twitter rants or whatever, about this right now. It's just not something that I want to do. I've said many things in the past that were very aggressive and that were very emotional and based on my personal experience, you know, my personal experience with people who are actually pedos and connecting the dots and all this stuff and getting kind of into it because my father is a predator, which Shane Dawson can relate to.
So let me get this straight. You actually think that your video was defending him? When the video ended with you simply saying he shouldn't be around children. Oh, he's not a pledo, but he shouldn't be around children. He's not a pledo, but he shouldn't be around children. How does that make any sense? That's a blatant contradiction. My daddy's a predator, and that's something Shane can relate to too. I'm actually defending Shane in my video, although he shouldn't be around children because, you know, he's a danger to children. What? I don't get it. How? You, this dense.
YouTube is a big popularity contest. It really is. So if somebody has, you know, a ton of subscribers and you, by comparison, have very few subscribers, it's going to be very difficult for you to, even if you do it in the most factual way, even if you do it in the most honest way, where you share both sides, you try to think of it through their perspective and everything, even if you do that, if you say anything negative about these people, you're immediately factually wrong. Like, there's no way around it. If people really, really like somebody, it's over. Okay, you're done. You just don't pick fights with people who are more popular than you. But I personally am not the type of person who just goes with the flow. I don't want to just go, oh, these people like them, so I should leave them alone. Like, if you didn't notice, there's a lot of people who like making anti-Onision videos. And that's because it's very popular. Like, I saw a person with 11,000 subscribers get 300,000 views on an anti-Onision video. Okay? If I got those views when I had 11,000 subscribers, I'd be like, whoa, I need to make a crap load of these videos. I need to rip this person apart, you know, and say the worst. Like, seriously, like, people have said, you know, I need to be beaten. I need to be a number of things, like just horrible things they've said about me.
Look, Greggy Poo, I don't support anybody trying to make death threats to you or your family or anything like that. No matter how much I dislike you on this platform, I don't condone that type of behavior. Nobody should. But in regards to somebody with 11,000 subs getting 300,000 views on a video, it's because people enjoy when you get criticized by other creators. They do. That's why people are watching this video right now. People love it when I respond to you. People have always loved it when I respond to you. And when anyone else other than me, other people respond to you, people love that too. The reason they love it is because you are one of the most hated creators on this platform. And the level of hate that people have for you is because you have created that hatred for yourself by what you do. Things that you've said, things that you've aired, your behaviors. That's why they hate you. These videos wouldn't get so many views and be as successful as they are if it weren't for what you do on this platform. Because you give people content to respond to. So if you, Greg, could actually change as a human being and improve, it would diminish significantly. But it won't because you're Greg and you don't change. You make apologies, you say I'm sorry, you say I won't do it again, and then you do it again. That's what you've always done. No surprise to anyone anymore. You're simply a laughingstock and people make responses as entertainment. Just like I'm doing right here, and people love it. They eat it up.
Someone got 1 million views on a very long video, so they no doubt made $3,000-4,000, completely and utterly crapping on my book, right? Just absolutely ripping it apart. I made a response video on Bro, where I was like, I literally was just chill. I'm not talking about the first video. I'm talking about the last video I made. I was just chill, and I pointed out that the person didn't even know that the characters were real people, because they were saying that, you know, these characters were so unbelievable, and I was actually taking actual things that those people would say or had said, and I put them into the book. And so she was saying that the characters weren't believable, and they all sounded like me, and it was just like weird because they were real people. And then she made fun of she made fun of the character that was based on my friend who died, Jad, my best friend for a long time. She made fun of the character based on that person. So that was hurtful. That was personal. But my video responding to them, even though I didn't insult her, like she insulted me multiple times, said multiple things, kept calling me like onion something or creep and stuff like that. She kept saying like really hurtful things towards me and that video. And my initial response was a comedy bit where I was saying lots of things about like her eyebrows and stuff, but people didn't get the joke. So I responded with a more monotone, non-comedic thing, and that did better.
Ugh, but people didn't get the joke. If lots of people don't get the joke, then you need to sit back and examine that maybe it's actually you who didn't effectively tell the joke in a way that actually came across as a joke. But more than that, he's talking about Strange Aeons, who made a book review of his books, and quite frankly was very entertaining. Highly recommend if you haven't seen the video. Yeah, this makes me question that, because that whole little, I read Onision's book and you got so blistering mad. It's funny, man. This is why people get 1.1 million views when they make a response or read your book and just post a review. A review of a book and it gets 1.1 million views is because of how you react to it. Your response dictates other people's responses. You made, what, a 2-3 part video to this girl who reviewed your book because you got butthurt, and you even admit that you got butthurt?
But my video got 37,000 views, right? And it was longer than hers, so that was odd. But her video got over 1 million views, and my video got demonetized. Okay, let that sink in, all right? She made more money than I made off all the sales on my book, right? She made more money just crapping on my book. It was really bonkers, and the system's really crazy. Like this documentary that I spent all day on, where I was just being very, very honest, very blunt, and trying to be as, you know, non-biased as possible, because I explained my bias in the beginning. And then as the video proceeded onward, I started saying, you know, like, for instance, Shane Dawson was with a boy, and he like rented the kid for a day to pretend to be his son. I personally wouldn't do that, but that doesn't mean it's horrible or anything. I was just, you know, saying, okay, so this one video pointed out that that was predatorial. And I said, no, that's not predatorial, because, you know, he didn't do anything inappropriate with that child. So there was a lot of defense of Shane Dawson, and wherever it was appropriate. And there was also criticism where it was appropriate.
The only so-called criticism you gave, if you can even call it that, was you disapproving of the fact that his cousin said some words and things in a sketch video that you didn't approve of. And yet somehow that means he shouldn't be around children, although the parents have been around the children every time he's filmed with kids. But regardless, the whole video was an implication, implying that he shouldn't be around children. That's why people got so upset. That's why it got so many dislikes. That's why people reacted. And that's why your video got temporarily removed off of YouTube. That sort of crap is slanderous.
So my objective in this video is to kind of connect with you guys on a human level. Okay, like I have had so many characters, and I've had so much, you know, ego and I guess narcissism by some people's description. I say some people's description because I'm not a therapist. I don't know what these characters are. I've never really psychoanalyzed them with a degree behind me, although my spouse is a psych major. So it's always funny when people try to psychoanalyze me to my spouse, and my spouse is like, I'm a psych major.
Did you just really use the degree card? My wife is a psych major. Therefore, anything anyone says to my wife automatically is invalidated because she has a psych degree. Boo-hoo. Someone has a psych degree, one of the most worthless degrees you can get. No offense to anybody who has that, but it's just really, unless you have a master's or PhD, it's really not that profitable. a basic psychology degree is not going to get you very far in life. Tons of people have that degree. It's not something that's utilized very often. But your wife having a degree doesn't take away any criticism that's given to you about how you react and how you behave online. Or how you try to, destroy your marriages by bringing in third parties all the time. But hey, whatever, that's your life.
All of this craziness, me losing the majority of my income, me losing the majority of my popularity, me losing the majority of my fans, and a lot of fans turning into people who hate me. These are all things that, would cripple an egomaniac, because they just want to be loved by everybody. They want to be in the spotlight and whatever. And, I cried on camera when I found out I was going to lose my house. Why do we film ourselves? Because we're trying to express how we truly feel and connect with people and show real human emotion and so forth.
Then why did you attack Shane in the first place? Because after all, you claimed that his response was that of a actual criminal. That him being upset was that of an actual criminal. Maybe it was him trying to connect to his audience and refute the fact that those accusations were false, which is exactly what he did. And here you cry in front of the camera, you claim that you want to connect to your audience and express what you're going through, and that's exactly what Shane did. But you criticize Shane for the exact same type of reaction that you had when you were losing your house. Shane was being falsely accused of something. You see the correlation between those two reactions?
What I realized in all this was that the only thing that really matters is your loved ones. Like, the only thing that really matters is the people in your life, and, not money, not fame, not how much people like you or anything like that. All that really matters is that we have the people we care about who are close to us, and we can afford to live our lives supporting them.
Greggy Poo, I agree. The only thing that matters in life is to love your loved ones, the people who are close to you, family. And if something isn't working to provide for your family, you adjust and you make an alternative way to make an income. Simple. Get a degree in something. Go back to school. If YouTube isn't working, find alternate means. What is so hard for people to understand about that? Do people just want to be completely self-sustainable by relying upon other people? Like, no offense to my audience and people who have given me money in the past, but one of the worst, most anxiety-inducing things is being reliant upon you people to provide for me. This is something that I had to learn the hard way, is relying on other people to survive is dangerous. It is not stable, because other people's lives, things happen with other people, therefore people aren't able to always financially support you. If someone wants to take the risk of being reliant upon other people to provide for their life, go for it. But don't get upset and don't get mad when it doesn't work in the way that favors you. The amount of stress that I dealt with trying to rely upon my audience to survive was unparalleled with anything I've ever experienced, and it wasn't worth it, which is why I quit.
And that's what I love doing. I love supporting my family. And Lainey has stepped up. I guess it's Kai now. Kai has stepped up, and they have helped me so much. I'm so proud of my spouse. I'm so proud of my family. I'm so proud of everything we're doing. And I'm proud that, I'm going to reveal a little information to you guys. One of my kids wants to be a YouTuber, but we can't let them, because there's this whole thing that's really private and sacred about children. And you don't let your kid go online. You don't let your kid, you let your kid watch stuff online, but you don't let your kid post stuff online. Like, you can't even be on YouTube unless you're 13, according to the policies. So, just following policies, just following parental moral code and so forth.
Oh, no. No, did you just say what I thought you said? No. Well, okay, look, I'll give you a tiny little bit of credit. That's good that you're not going to let him make a YouTube channel until he's 13. But ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a crazy, rude awakening when that time comes in the next decade, when we have the spawn, the children of Onision on YouTube making videos. Bad things are going to happen. I predict the future in that regard. Honestly, I hope that day does not come for the sake of the child. And can you really imagine Onision becoming a family channel? A child, of all things, on YouTube? I just don't see that happening in a effective way. But hey, if you want to put your kids on YouTube and exploit them for views and money, by all means, you go right ahead and do that. And I'll make my way further away from this platform than I already have.
We value this so much, and we could probably solve our financial woes if we turned into a family channel or something, but I love my family too much. that I don't want to expose them to the stuff that I go through, that my spouse goes through. So thank you guys so much for being supportive of me. Thank you so much, like, to the people who are supportive. Thank you so much for putting up with me. Thank you so much for so many of the things that you have done that have been positive towards me. But unfortunately, I can never talk about Shane again. And I can't talk about really anyone popular again with any criticism. Because I can't afford to not be able to feed my family.
Greggy Poo, we shall see in regards to your statements, because you've said countless times that you'll never do this, and then you do it. You'll never do this, and then you'll do it. You'll never do this, and then you do it. Everybody's been guilty of that at some point, even myself. But the point is, you keep doing it over and over and over and over again. You always tell people, I won't talk about this again, and then you do it. How many times have you done this now with different people? Give it 6 months, you'll have a new video on Shane or Eugenia. That's just how it goes. But Greg, I want to give you a forewarning that I'm going to be reviewing your book. And I hope you're ready for when that day comes. I will be reading it, and I will be reviewing it. Hold on to your butts, guys. It will be a fun ride. Let's get ready from the weekend on Friday. Onision's book review, incoming.